I'm going to start talking just to tell you guys what I'm up to right now. We had an election last week, and a lot of votes are counted by electronic tallying machines, whether these are actually electronic voting, touchscreen voting machines, or you vote on paper by marking in a bubble or connecting a candidate to an office by drawing a line or something like that. Pretty much all the votes in the U.S., except for New York, which is still using mechanical lever machines, pretty much all the votes in the U.S. are counted electronically in some manner. And so the accuracy of that is not perfect. I mean, the accuracy of any counting system isn't perfect. And that raises the issue of might there have been enough error in the counting of the votes in an election to cause the wrong candidate to appear to win? Can you get the wrong answer because of error in the vote tallies? So for a few years, I've been working on the problem of auditing elections statistically. So you go back in and hand count a random sample of the ballots and look at the errors in the counting of those random samples and use that to try to figure out whether the total error in counting all the votes might be large enough to cause the wrong candidate to appear to win. And we're going to learn a little more about techniques for drawing samples. I can explain a little bit more carefully what's going on, but what it amounts to is what would be called a cluster sample, random cluster sample, or a stratified random cluster sample of ballots, where the clusters in this case are those ballots that were cast in a particular precinct, or those ballots that were cast in a particular precinct on a particular machine, or in a particular mode, like cast by mail versus cast in person in the precinct. So I've done 4 experiments so far in different counties in California working on this. I did some work for the Secretary of State's office back that kind of kicked this all off, but I've done work in 4 counties, 2 audits in Marin County, an audit in Yolo County, which is up, Davis is in Yolo County, and an audit in Santa Cruz County, and doing some more audits using better methods that are more efficient. They don't require as much hand counting when the outcome is right, but they're guaranteed to have a minimum chance of going to a full hand count if the outcome is wrong. Because the only way you can correct an outcome is to count everything by hand. You can't, you can't sort of extrapolate the results from a sample and determine the outcome of the election based on that extrapolation. That would probably be unconstitutional, because there would be a chance you'd make a mistake. And if you made a mistake, in effect, you would be disenfranchising the majority by having committed a statistical, just by luck of the draw, you got a sample that caused the extrapolation to be wrong. So you basically have 2 options. You either stick with the outcome that the original tally told you, or you count everything by hand and get a manual tally, and the manual tally is then the legal standard that determines the winner. So so far, we've been lucky in the audits. We haven't found enough error that would trigger us to go and do a full hand count. We've been able to certify all the outcomes. And tomorrow, I'm heading to Yolo to audit another couple of contests. And next week, we'll be doing an audit of a couple of contests in Marin County. So we're actually going to learn a lot of the math on which this stuff is based. There are bits and pieces of it in today's lecture. And then when we start talking about sampling, there's bits and pieces of it there. So this is one practical application of statistics in political life and civic life.